Seven Wonders, The Colossus Rises, by Peter Larangis. Chapter 3, Flatlining. Beep, beep. Harpstrings? What was that noise? The street was gone. I could see nothing. I felt as if I were floating in a tunnel of cold air. I had dreamed my own death, and then it had really happened. I pried my eyes open briefly. It hurt to do it, but in that moment, I had a horrifying realization. The afterlife was beige. I tried to cry out, but my body was frozen. Odd whistling sounds drifted around me like prairie winds. Slowly, I began making out voices, words. Peering out again, I hoped to see a cherubim and a seraphim, or at least a few clouds. Instead, I saw nostril hairs, also really dark eyebrows and blue eyes, attached to a man's face that loomed closer. I felt a hand push my head to the side. I tried to speak, to resist, but I couldn't. It was as someone had turned the off switch on all my body functions. Extremely odd case, the man said in a deep voice. No diabetes, you say? He had all in calculations? No history of concussion? Correct, Dr. Snark, came an answer. There's nothing that would indicate these erratic vital signs. He's a healthy boy. We haven't a clue what's wrong. I knew the second voice. It was my family doctor, Dr. Flood. She'd been taking care of me since I was a baby, so I was not dead, which was a big relief, but hearing your doctor's voice is never a cheery thing. I was tilted away from the voices, and all I could see were an IV stand, electrical wires, and a metal waste basket. It had to be Belleville Hospital, where I hadn't been since I was born. I must have been hit by a car. The math test had visions of a blank sheet of paper with a big fat 0. I willed myself to open my mouth, to tell them I was all right and I had to get to school, but nothing moved. A highly rare set of symptoms, Dr. Snark said, but it fits exactly into the recent research I've been doing. Dr. Flood exhaled loudly. We're so lucky you were in town and could rush here at such a short notice. I felt fingers at the back of my head, poking around where the upside-down V was, and I felt a rush of panic. I figured I was about to become the first kid in the world with a prescription for Grecian formula. Heavy footsteps plodded into the room. Excuse me, Dr. Flood said. She sounded confused, maybe annoyed. What are you doing here? Chapelain, a gruff voice answered. New on job. While Dr. Flood dealt with the chapelain, Dr. Snark pushed my head back and slipped something in my mouth. He held my mouth shut, forcing me to swallow from under his sleeve. I could see a tattoo that looked like 2 winding snakes. What did he just give me? Could he see my eyes were open? What kind of doctor had a tat like that? What was a chaplain doing here? But I never sent a request for a chaplain, Dr. Flood said, sounding completely confused. Are you sure you're in the right room? Yes, correct, the man replied. For last Reed's hospital rules, these situations, last Reed's, as in the prayers spoken over people about to die, those last Reed's. I panicked. I was obviously in worse shape than I thought. Then my body lurched violently, and everything turned white. He's flatlining, Dr. Stark shouted. Dr. Flood, notify the OR. I need a gurney stat. My body convulsed. I heard choking noises, my own, and hurried footsteps as Dr. Flood left the room. The room was a blur of colors. The two men, Stark and the chaplain, were on either side, strapping my arms and legs down. My head jerked backward, and I thought it would crack open like an egg. Hold on. Don't die. Dr. Snack stood over me, his face red and beaded with sweat. Now, he said. The chaplain was nearly a foot taller than Dr. Snack, and at least 50 pounds heavier, but he snapped too, fumbling for something in his inner pocket. I could see his face for the first time, green eyes, ruddy skin, and curly red hair, and a deep, jagged scar that ran down the left side of his cheek and disappeared into a bushy beard. He pulled out a long syringe with one hand, and with the other wiped my arm with an alcohol pad. As he leaned down, I realized I'd seen him before. I tried to call out. I opened my eyes as wide as they could go. I stared at the man's face, willing myself to stay awake. A word escaped my mouth on a raspy breath. Red. I felt a sharp pain in my left arm as soon as the room went black. One last word dribbled out. Beard.